Go for it.
Okay. So I don't think that anybody has said necessarily that Maryland is an abuser of the Lifeline system. People have noticed that since the reforms were made to Lifeline to allow these prepaid wireless plans, and since particularly since 2009, when the recession kicked in, that Maryland as a state has seen the largest increase in the number of people dependent on Lifeline. And I think that there are a couple of reasons for that we ought to look at. The first question is the unemployment and eviction rate in Maryland as people lose their jobs and become more dependent on social services, particularly if they lose their homes, and therefore their one link to potential new employment or to their families is going to be with a prepaid wireless plan. That's going to force an uptick in the service. The fund was traditionally under-subscribed, so one of the things that we would expect is as people in communities become aware of the program and aware of the changes to the program that may make it more convenient for them, we would expect to see an increase. But I also think that, realistically, we need to look at the practices of the vendors. When we talk about Lifeline and these wireless prepaid programs, we need to remember that these are from wireless companies that are going and recruiting people for these programs. You have people who need federal aid, who are in poverty programs, who are being told, we've got a program for you that's going to give you a free phone and what you need. They tell people they qualify. They don't necessarily tell them the rules about whether that it's only one phone per household. So I think that when we're looking at Maryland and how much we've seen an increase in Maryland, we're talking about a combination of need, the program being better suited to people's needs, but potentially also some unscrupulous vendors recruiting people who perhaps did not really qualify for the program or not telling them about the limits on the program.
Awesome. There are talks of adding broadband to free phones. Why is that necessary?
Well, what we're actually...
But I can talk about broadband too.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So access to broadband for all Americans isn't just critical for phone service. It's also serves as connecting. It also helps to serve Americans. It also serves to connect Americans to critical communications needs. People are now applying for jobs over the internet. You oftentimes don't see postings for jobs in your local newspaper. You can only find them online. Many government functions and services are provided and connected to Americans online only, whether it's getting your license renewed or paying your taxes or getting access to different social services. Broadband is touching so many parts of our lives. It's really important that we don't have a divide based on income, and that low-income Americans can take advantage of all these services and these connections to everyday community needs. I think another great example is in the education sector. More and more students in the K through 12 system have access to extra educational help, extra educational practice and services, and parents are able to track their progress online. If our low-income students don't have that opportunity, then we'll continue to see a growing gap between their performance and middle-income students. Where else? So, high-speed broadband is the communications network of the 21st century, and in the 20th century, we've always had a commitment to ensuring that all Americans have affordable access to communications systems. In the 20th century, that meant your home phone. Now that communications networks are being upgraded to all broadband IP-based networks, it's important that we continue to have that commitment to all Americans having access. That means that we need to look at bringing broadband into the Lifeline program. Right now, about a third of your phones and homes are strictly over IP, or what's called VoIP phones. Roughly a third of your consumers are still using copper-based home phone systems, and then another third have just cut the cord completely and are using mobile phones. So this transition is happening, and it's important that we ensure that our low-income Americans who are served by the Lifeline program have that affordable access.